Hi, everybody.
Hello, I'm Ryan.
I'm Bethany.
And we are Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
And today we're going to be talking about Fog of Love.
Ooh, yeah, cue the fog machine.
Cue the fog machine?
Yeah, like so we can make a fog of love. It'd have like a heart. Like, we'll put it in post. Yeah, we'll put it in the post when I do my editing.
Ryan will put it in post.
Cue the fog machine in post.
Anyway, but before we talk about that, let's get into our pounds and inches segment. This is where Ryan and I talk about what we're doing to achieve better health in our life, and also just some victories we're having. And
You're having, to be clear.
I like to focus on non-scale victories. And recently, a couple months ago, I had to buy another pair of running pants. So I just went to the store and I knew what my size was and I just picked up my size and I just went home, yada, yada, yada. Well, anyway, I had to use them and they are too big for me. I was so used to my body being a certain size that I bought a size too big for me because of that. And the reason why that's exciting for me is just that it wasn't like I've changed and then I went back to normal. I've changed and this is where I've been for a good 6 months. So that's pretty exciting.
Awesome. All right, so let's talk about Fog of Love. This is as it says in the box, it is a romantic comedy as a board game. And it really is. You basically are given a scenario, and there's several scenarios in the box, plus expansions. And then you have chapters within those scenarios. And you play different scenes, asking people questions, all that kind of stuff going back and forth. And you make a love story between two characters. But let's show you what it looks like. Here is the board setup for Fog of Love. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to choose a scenario. We're going to do the opening scenario. This is Sunday morning date. Really cute kind of entry-level scenario where you're just kind of learning the basics of the game. By the way, this game has a fantastic tutorial. Basically, it sets it all out for you. You run through the cards in order. It teaches you the game exactly how they want it taught. It's brilliant, and I wish more games did things like this. But that would take too long to do the full tutorial. So I'm just going to give you kind of a quick overview and show you what it looks like, how it works. So after you've chosen your scenario, now we're going to make our characters. You're going to choose which side you want to be. Let's be a girl. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to choose our traits. So basically you're going to be dealt 5 traits from this large deck, and we're going to go through them and kind of choose some. All right, so we drew fun-loving, we drew irresponsible, we drew relaxed, we drew workaholic, and lastly we drew just. Now, we don't want to choose something like irresponsible and workaholic. They have conflicting personality traits. So all these relate to these personality dimensions that are on the board. By choosing something with, on either side, you're basically saying one of them is never going to happen. Now, the person across the table from you doesn't know what you've chosen. These are kind of hidden on these little trays here. So let's go with irresponsible, let's go with fun-loving, and let's go with relaxed. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to choose our occupation. Now, those start giving us our first personality dimension stats. So we have an architect, which is going to go up on yellow, if you can see that. We've got a criminal, which is down on blue, and an author that's up on blue. We wouldn't really want to choose the architect because that conflicts with our relaxed trait. It would kind of already give us something that we're working against. So instead, I think it would be really fun to kind of roleplay as a criminal. So there we go. So since we are a criminal, we are going to go down here on sincerity. Now the last part of our personality, we don't actually make for ourselves. We make it for the person across from us, and they make it for us. These are the features. And basically what they say is, what did you fall in love with the character sitting across from you? So we would draw 5, choose 3 for them, and similarly they're going to draw 5 and choose 3 for us. So what our partner chose for us is that we are smiling. So we're going to go up on green. We are stoned. So we're going to go down on the brown here, which is the discipline, which actually works out really well with our irresponsible trait. And they also said that they love the fact that we have an old cell phone. We're not caught up in all this new and modern technology. Or maybe it's that we used a burner phone because we're a criminal. Who knows? We also have our little character card here that is going to gain satisfaction as the game goes on, hopefully. So we're going to put 1 marker there on 0, and we'll go up from there. You start the game with these kind of end game conditions. This is how you want your relationship to go. Unconditional love, love team, equal partners, or dominant in the relationship. There are more in the game that you get in other scenarios, but for our first opening scenario of Sunday morning date, this is what it tells us to start with. As the game goes on, we're going to go through chapters, and we're going to actually get rid of and eliminate one or two of these at a time until eventually, at the very last part of the game, at the finale, we will choose our final destiny, and if we've accomplished it, we win. Now, the player across from us may have chosen a different destiny or the same one, and they might also have achieved theirs. So it could be kind of a cooperative game. It could be where you're kind of fighting against each other. You could both lose, in fact. So there's lots of different outcomes that can happen. All right, now looking at the board from this angle, we have different scenes that we'll be drawing. So there's sweet scenes, serious scenes, and dramatic scenes. Some expansions also use custom scenes that are built specifically for that scenario. Now, Sunday morning date says that we're going to start with 5 cards in our hand. 3 of them are sweet, 1 serious, and 1 dramatic. Let's look at some of those look like. You have things like a love song in public, where by playing it, the other person is going to gain some extroversion because they sang in public. But now they have to choose, using these really nice kind of poker chips, what option they are going to do. And to base off what they do, there's going to be some satisfaction given or taken away, and some personality traits are going to happen as well. There are scenes such as breakfast in bed that have you both choose. And there's different options there. You both select secretly with, again, those poker chips on those spots on the board. And you are going to select them, flip them over, and if you match up, certain things are going to happen. If you don't match, well, your partner still gets some satisfaction because they still get breakfast. It just wasn't exactly what they wanted, perhaps. There are secrets in the game. So if you have a secret, you can play that in front of you, kind of face down, and there's going to be other cards that reveal that secret. Maybe you accidentally slipped and told your hairdresser, and they told your partner. So be careful what your secrets are, but those are a lot of fun. There are also many cards that can change aspects of the game. So this one says, let's leave everything behind. And based off what you choose, if you match up certain things, you might change occupations, you might change some traits. You might gain or lose some of your destinies as well through these scenes. This particular scenario has 3 chapters, chapter 1, 2, and 3. Each one of those chapters tells you, how long, how many different scenes are going to be in each chapter, as well as what cards you're going to draw from when you're replenishing your hand. So usually the progression goes something like sweet, serious, dramatic, if there's 3 chapters. But, each scenario is different. They might have you, in the first one, draw sweet, and then from there on out, you only draw dramatic, or some combination like that. And at the end of each one of these chapters, you're also going to be given the opportunity to kind of cull down your destinies. So eventually, when you get to the finale of the chapter, or of the scenario, you're going to have to choose what your final destiny is. And again, hopefully you accomplished it. You kind of been working towards that for the whole game. And if you have enough satisfaction points, or if you completed whatever the different scenarios are, let's say in Dominant, you actually have to have considerably more satisfaction than your partner, but they can't break up with you. And you have to have at least, 4 down on the gentleness, which kind of makes sense for a dominant personality. So if you've gained enough satisfaction, or if you've completed whatever the objectives are on your individual destinies, you reveal those. After you reveal your final destiny, you're also going to reveal your hidden traits that you had. Let's say we had irresponsible and we had fun-loving. If we managed to get enough of the personality traits in the right categories, up or down on those different charts, we're going to gain some extra satisfaction, or possibly lose some satisfaction based off whether we did those things or not. We compare that to our destiny, and if you've made it, you've won the game. Again, there can be 2 winners or 2 losers. And that is a quick overview of Fog of Love.
So one of the things that I think stands out, probably even from right now, is just this box art. That white with the blue and pink, all those different colors. It looks awesome, and even stands out on our shelf. The color palette looks really neat on the table, and the box just stands out. They did a really good job designing that.
The thing I love most about this game is the stories that come out of it. You were role-playing, and I do suggest not role-playing as yourselves. When we play, we're not Ryan, we're not Bethany, because that would be disastrous for a couple of reasons. First of all, it wouldn't be fun. We are Ryan and Bethany in a relationship every day.
Yeah. We're in our love story.
Yeah. And it's a successful one. We won.
We won.
That was awkward the way I did that.
Yeah.
We'll fix it in post. The other reason you don't want to roleplay as yourselves are you're put in weird situations. The game wants you to have confrontations and stuff like that. And if you're like, well, Ryan would react if you would have done the dishes more, or whatever, it would just ruin the game. So yeah, I just really love all the stories that come out of this game. Lots of laughter, a lot of fun.
This game also does a good job of allowing all couplings to take place. Since it's a game about relationships, there's a variety of different types of relationships, and it accommodates that pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I wanted to test that. So I played this game with one of my friends who is a member of the LGBTQ community, and we played as characters that didn't even describe ourselves, but just we wanted to see what that relationship looked like. And we had a ton of fun, first of all, and second of all, it worked really well. And the reason is because relationships are universal. The problems that come up in relationships are universal. The positive things that come up in relationships are universal. You're going to have financial problems. You're going to have questions about what movies to see. You're going to have questions about in-laws. You're going to have issues that come up with career choices. So all that stuff is universal, no matter who you're sitting across the table from, no matter what characters you're playing as. And I thought that worked really well in this game. There are a few expansions for this game as well. We've played 2 of them, and there are more on the way, from what I understand. We've played the Paranormal Romance. I will not spoil it, but there is some kind of longer-lasting effects that roll through the game. You play through the scenario once, stuff happens, and then you put some stuff on cards. It's going to have a longer-lasting effect throughout the rest of your plays, even when you play other scenarios. So I thought that was kind of a neat expansion. The other expansion that we played was The Trouble with the In-Laws. This one had a lot of dramatic things happen. I mean, all like the worst-case stereotypical scenarios you hear about with, in-laws.
This is why you have to role play.
Yeah, you don't want to use this as yourselves because, I'm lucky to have good in-laws, and I think you are too. But it's all the stereotypical bad things that can happen with in-laws happen in this box, and it was a lot of fun to role play that. But it was very dramatic.
All right, guys. I know you see this super happy face. That's not the case for me. I know, a huge surprise
Shocking.
to you.
After like 20 plays, I'm just now hearing this.
I just didn't like this game. I didn't enjoy it. I was actually starting to dread it, actually. Ryan and I like to play games multiple times before we bring you reviews. And since we had the expansions, we wanted to make sure to play those as well, just so we can have like full thoughts on it. And the last 2 times, I was absolutely dreading it. Dreading playing it. It just... dread. So this game says on the box and the expansions that it's 17 plus, and that's very accurate. We had a hard time playing this game because we didn't want to play some of the scenarios around our kids. There's just some, it says 17 plus. There's just some rated R scenarios that came up, which worked great with the game and made a lot of sense with the relationship and the storyline, but it just made that kind of challenging. And then also when we were playing the In-Laws expansions, I had to keep on telling our kids, this is a pretend grandma and grandpa. This isn't real grandma and grandpa. And our 6-year-old would say, yeah, I'm not even paying attention. But kids, they're always paying attention.
Yeah, to be honest, some of the rated R cards were some of the most fun. Just fun, interesting to see how the characters that you had created, how they reacted to those scenarios. So that was a lot of fun and a little risque. I will also say this game is very mood susceptible, and it's... we come home from work and it's been a long day and you're tired and you don't want to do all the thinking of this game, and it's just a situation like, okay, my character gives your character flowers. What kind of flowers did you want? Okay, you chose roses. I move up 2 points on this thing. Your turn. And it just really ruins the game. So it puts a lot of pressure on the players to drive the story forward. You really want to be in a good mood, in a creative kind of thinking mood. You want to have all your energy so that you can make this really interesting story. Because when it shines, oh my gosh, it shines! It's so much fun. But it is, a lot of pressure on the players to make that fun happen. The game doesn't do it for you. So I have really been enjoying Fog of Love. I think this game is super fun. It just makes me laugh so much. It gives me, sometimes you walk away from a game and it's like, oh, that was really fun the way I shipped those goods to Europe. It's just great. No one says
those
that.
Those are my kind of games.
Don't get me wrong. Those are some of my favorite games too. But you don't walk away talking about it. When you play a game of this that really works, you walk away and you're like, oh man, could you believe that one thing when our character did that thing? And it was, oh my gosh, and this really fun story narrative that you can bring up over and over again. I really enjoyed Fog of Love. I recommend it.
So the things that Ryan said, it's not that they're not true, it just didn't work for me. And I don't think it's going to work for all gamers. With that said, I think this game would actually work perfectly for somebody who is maybe a coupling where somebody's into RPGs and somebody's more into board games. You can bridge the gap with this game. I think it would be a perfect in the middle game for somebody in that situation. And then also, even though I did not enjoy this game, I'm actually really excited to see what this forges the path for. I think that it was doing something brand new, and I'm really looking forward to what comes after this. What new games are going to be coming on the market because this game was out there. So I am looking forward to the future because of what this game did.
Yeah, I just love the storytelling of this game. I want to see more story-driven games, not just have story elements, but are actually narrative games. And I thought it was very unique. The scoring does not matter, if you win or lose, if you break up or don't break up, if you have more satisfaction, all that kind of drives the story, and it's interesting. But, winning the game is playing the game in a game like this.
Anyway, that's our thoughts on Fog of Love. If you want to see our reviews as they come out, subscribe to us on YouTube under Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews, or follow us on Facebook under Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews. If you want to see pictures of the games we're currently playing, follow us on Instagram under Ryan and Bethany. And if you want to reach out and chat with us, follow us on Twitter under Ryan and Bethany 1. And lastly, if you want a more in-depth behind the scenes of what Ryan and I are doing to achieve better health in our life, follow our blog on Board Game Geek under Pounds and Inches.
All right, thanks so much for tuning in, guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye.